Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 41 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2020. Thank you all so much for being with me today. Our tangle is going to be JESSICUP, and it is a fun little, it reminds me of angelfish. So I stuck a little bit short video in for that. I did a watercolor wash on this tile, and it is now pretty dry. And so we're going to use this as a backdrop for what I feel like is just a fun little sea type of a, we'll see how it turns out. So we're going to be doing a really cool tangle today that reminds me of a seascape for some reason. And so I thought it might be fun to add some color to our tile, just a little bit. I'm using my Inktense pencils, and I'm just loading the color from the tip and spreading it on. You can do this technique with any watercolor pencil. But it helps you to not have the lines. And if you're using an original Zentangle tile, just enjoy that process. These take tons and tons of water. So even though you have gone through once, you will still have plenty of water on the tooth of the paper. And so I want to try to do a little bit of a weird gradient. I don't know. I got some green out, but I think I'll probably just use my lagoon down here and my carmine pink up on the top. This lagoon is a very dark purpley blue. I'm still missing all of my favorite Inktense colors. And I was pricing Inktense sets on Amazon last night. They have really busted out the prices on those. They are hugely expensive right now, I guess because everyone is sheltering at home. And so the prices are horrible right now on Inktense. So at least at Amazon. And of course the prices on M&Ms are ridiculous there too. So, and toilet paper, don't get me started. I don't know what the world is doing with all the toilet paper they are hoarding, but come on, the rest of us need some too. Just saying. Oops. Need more water on this. I am using tons and tons of water on this. And I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. It shouldn't be very dark. And this is what I'm going to have. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to start by taking a deep breath before I get myself all stressed out. Or if I'm already stressed out, I'm going to take a deep breath, relax my shoulders and my hand and arm, get all off in my Zenful thing. Now I'm going to start by putting dots in each corner. I'm going to try to start doing these a little darker. As I was editing yesterday, I realized that you guys could barely see the string on the screen. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit darker than I would normally do. All right. I'm going to pencil in some borders. The border lines can look like whatever you wish them to look like. They don't have to be anything special. But if you want to put a bit of wiggles and curly cues and different things in here, then you, of course, are welcome to do that. Okay. Then I think for strings, since this is a ribbon tangle, I'm going to make a series of string lines that are going to be parallel-y lines. I'm going to make this one get a little bit smaller. And I think I will hollabaugh, meaning to draw behind some. And well, let's do this and see where we're at. And if we want to add some spots, then we still can. So I wanted to thank, I think it was Jody, that left the comment on the cake video about how they teach to look at your lines, look at where your lines are going, and instead of where they are, if that makes sense. Try to visualize your lines where they're heading, watch where they're going instead of where you're coming from, I guess. So I don't know. I will have to start practicing that. So this starts with, I don't even know how to describe it, sort of a little fescue shape, but you want a rounded end. Okay. Then you're going to shift your tile. You're just going to take that from one corner to the next, or to the next side, and do it slanted. Okay. And we're going to start at the head of this one, make another one coming down, and we're going to turn that little black ball in on the inside of the line that we're doing. And we're going to shift our tile again and make another one and black it in. We're just going to continue to do this, making just a ever so slightly curved line. That was probably a little bit more than ever so. And continue up. And as this one is getting larger, as my string line is getting larger, then my lines are getting longer. And we're just going to keep getting larger with the string. And remember, these go on the inside curve. All right. Like this. And so this one would be, let's see, curve. So this one would be like that. Okay. Now, the next step is for you to decide which side of this you want to have your little fish shapes on. Now, I'm going to call them that. I'm not trying to be representational or anything. It's just what it reminded me of. So what we're going to do is we're going to put lines in every other one of these, okay? And let me show you how that's going to go. I'm going to pick this side to put lines on, all right? So, so this top side, or whichever direction you want to call this side is I'm not going to do anything in, all right? So I'm going to start with this one right here. And the first step is on this side to put a little aura or echo line around each one of these little balls on the side that we're going to want to do. Okay? And the other side we're going to leave as is. Now, we are going to sort of dress these up. And I should have drawn this line in. Sorry about that. I had the pencil line in, but this actually does start with lines. All right, now, every one of these places where we put one of these little auras, we are going to start at the aura, and we're going to make a series of lines, aura lines, just parallel lines that sort of go with the flow in the little triangle. Okay? Now, the reason I think seascape on this is because that looks to me like an angelfish or something. But that's just me. Maybe you see something different. Remember, these can be whatever you want them to be. Now, these lines are going to get slightly wider at the edge, at the outer side, like this. Take your time on these. Let's all try that, focusing on where we're going instead of where we've been or where we are. All right, one more. Boy, for me, those were two very nice straight lines. At least straight adjacent for me. You can pack these in densely if you want. You can put them in with wider gaps than I have. This is just how I've decided to handle this. All right. So the next step here is simple. It's just to put some little orbs. And in the step out, she has them blacked in. She has them different sizes. Just fill it up a little bit. Give the space a little bit of interest. You can put as many or as few as you like in here. I didn't do a very good job blacking those. When you do these, take a little extra time. Make sure you've done a nice round orb and you've blacked it in nicely. I mention this because that is something I tend to rush through, and your orbs are much nicer. If you just take a little bit of time with them. Okay, so you really can set this up however you would like. Use as many or as few as you want. Okay, and this is our tangle. Okay, now that is really, really pretty, right? So let's do it again over here. All right, we'll have a school of angelfish coming out. All right, So starting here, I'm always going to not start in the corner. I'm always going to start where I can get a good angle on my first stroke. Oops. I totally did that wrong, didn't I? But that's okay. I am not trying to win any contests. Okay, so that one's probably going to be blank. I should probably draw this line too. This time I am going to stop the string line, just because I know that's going to add some visual interest. I think I got this set up wrong. But that's going to be all right. I fixed it. Okay. So down here, I might as well just start with another stroke. And that missed that little string line. And there we go. Okay. Now I am going to aura the ones on the side that I'm going to use. And then, boy, I got two of these in the wrong place, didn't I? Well, we're going to find out how it goes. At least I got it stepped out before I went rogue, huh? This one's going to have a little dot on his fin because he's special. He's got another little friend down here that's going to have a dot on his fin. And I totally decided to go through that, so that's okay. I really enjoy drawing this. Getting those initial lines set up correctly is the hardest part, really. See, this will be going this way. Okay, and this one. All right. Now I'm going to fill in with orbs, and on this one, I'm going to leave my orbs unblacked because I'm doing the soul seascape thing, and I'm thinking bubbles. I got those all the same size, and I didn't mean to. Okay. This. So now I have two different versions of this, sort of. They're basically the same. Now, do I want to sneak any more in here? And if I do, in what manner do I want to do that? So, the other thing I could do would be to leave this and go towards embellishing or doing something different. So I think what I'm going to do for now, unless I change my mind, is I'm going to start by, I think I'm going to aura this one along the sides in the back. I can't do that on the top one, of course, because I didn't leave any room for that. That's okay. And what else? I guess I could do this like so without upsetting anybody too much. Oh, I just had an idea. What I really want to do, I really want to do it, is put some betweed in here. Would you guys hate me if I put betweed in here? It would just make it so perfect. Can we pretend that betweed is really a pattern for I don't know. Don't tell anybody I did this. It's our secret. I think I'm doing this wrong. I don't know what I'm doing with this. Close enough. Don't tell anybody I'm terrible at betweed. It's just mean. You do not need to do this on your tile. I almost got to day 50 before I did it, didn't I? Okay, not really. All right, so let's do right here. Well, that looks better. Definitely going to have to do some shading on this to sort of separate our elements, and that's okay. I'm going to continue my betweed over here, and we may leave the rest for negative space. You know I'm terrible at that, but I am trying. I feel like blank spaces need to be filled. It's something I'm working on. The pattern I'm using right now is called betweed. I do have a video on this from last year if you want to check it out. I saw this on someone's art yesterday, which is why it's in my mind. You guys are so talented out there. Thank you for sharing your art with me. All right. All right. So I have broken my monotangle rule. So you guys are allowed to do that too for today. But no further. All right. I am going to shade this with my Koi coloring brush. It is gray. Okay. And this just makes shading a lot faster and quite a bit more dramatic. So I'm going to start with this first. I'm trying to decide whether to shade on the outside of the aura or on the inside, but because of this, I'm going to do on the inside here. And first I'm just going to run along this line, and this is what you would do with your pencil. Just run graphite all along this line if you've got your elements overlapping the way I do. And don't worry about this. I'm going to go and through and bring my water brush in and blend this out. Okay, the second place I want to shade is along this pencil line here. And then I'm going to come through here once again on this side so that I can drop the stuff behind and bring this top element out. Okay, then I'm going to find this second element and I'm going to shade behind the aura that I've got next to it. So I'm going to leave the aura next to it blank, and I'm going to shade on the other sides of that. And I'll figure out how I'm going to handle this here after a bit. Okay, so that's my first thing that I want to do. Then I want to go through, I think, and add a little bit where the lines converge in each one of these little angelfish thing. This is my angelfish. I can be an angelfish if I want it to be. And it can be anything you want. I think I got them all. All right. Then the last place I think for me that I want to shade is right along here on the inside of what I'm perceiving to be their fin. And that will raise the elements inside this up and drop the bubble part back. Okay. Now I want to do that here. Here and here and here. Add a little dimension here, and I think just on this one I'm gonna put some down on this side. Now I'm going to change my water brush for a, no, I'm changing my coloring brush for a water brush. Make sure it's clean. Then I'm going to go through here and just ever so subtly now the reason I used ink tints on here is so that I could do this type of shading over it without messing with the color. So this is a really good test to see if ink tints is really color fast once you put it down. And somebody, I think it was Anne, was talking about when we did the colored pencil gem a couple of days back, she was hoping for the ink tints thing. And so since we're talking about ink tints right now, let me just explain. The difference between watercolor pencils and ink tints pencils or regular colored pencils and ink tints pencils is that the ink in ink tints, or the color in ink tints, is a permanent ink. And they function just like watercolor pencils or colored pencils until you have added water. You have activated the ink with water, and at that point the ink becomes supposedly permanent and color fast, and so you are able to put other media over the top of that and not lose the vibrant colors that you have. All right, just a couple more things, and we will call it a day today. Oh, I think Simba's going to come and visit us. Are you coming to visit, Sim? Come on. Here, up. Good boy. Good boy. All right, Simba is in the house. You dog lovers, you. Dogs are the best people. Of course, kitties are awesome, too. There is nothing like a purring kitty on your lap when you are feeling bad or down or low. Something about that purr just relaxes you, doesn't it? So, when you're using Inktense pencils, and the reason I'm such a big fan of them is twofold. Number one is the permanent ink. So, and it's light fast. So once you have done it, it's not going to fade in the sun. It's going to stay there permanently. And then once it's dry, you don't have to worry about putting other water-based products over it like I'm doing right now, because those things are going to go over the top of the permanent ink. Now, let's see what we got here. So I think the Inktense held up fairly well. If you want it darker in spots after it dries, all you have to do is go back in. And if you're using a coloring marker like this, after it dries, you can still go in with your graphite pencil and darken areas that you would like to be darker. Let's see what we did here. Well, I still think I want some more definition here and here. So I think what I want to do is use a colored pencil, maybe a blue colored pencil. Blue, that'll be perfect. So I think I'm going to take this blue pencil and run along the edges here and just add a little bit of color.
It's right by the edge. She's good.
These weren't quite dry. Okay. I meant to do that different color. So by using this, we've divided our elements further and yet not added a lot of dark to what we're doing. And I want to use a different color. Looking for a coral or, ooh, salmon pink. Perfect. And I think I'm going to do this if it's dark enough. All right. And I haven't done a particularly careful job with this, but since I'm going to blend it, it's going to be all right. These are so fun. All right, so now let me find my blender. So I'm going to use my Gamsol. This is odorless mineral spirits. I'm just going to dip the tip of my big old paper stump in there, get some on there. Then I'm going to go through here and blend some of this out. Now by the time we're done, we will have worked this tile over fairly well with color and wet media. And you will see, if you're using an original tile, why these are so awesome. They take so much work and they are still good quality. I don't have buckling or anything like that going on. That doesn't mean they won't curl up if you give them too much water. But I think by using a little bit of colored pencil here, we've sort of accentuated the color part instead of de-accentuate. I don't know. I know I have a lot of CZTs that are doing this. I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate your comments and the love that you give me, even though I feel like I do a terrible job some days. I just want you guys to know that you're appreciated. Your support of this project is really appreciated, and I'm really glad you're here. And if you ever have things that you want to correct me on or comments that you want to add in, I really, really encourage you to do that. I am not going to be all upset or hurt or anything like that. So my goal is to get as much good information out there to people as possible. And so if you have something genius to add, which most of you probably do, then I am happy to have you say something. So, well, wow. That sort of took on its own dimension, didn't it? And I think I'm going to leave the negative space as it is. So what do you guys think? It's a little bit different, but it was fun, and I got to use colored pencils, so it can't be all bad, right? This is JESSICUP. I'm still turning it around because I'm trying to decide which side I want up. But it's kind of fun, isn't it? And so this is what we're going to do today. I appreciate you being here. I need to be in touch with Aishwarya. I know that she's going to be ready to start our journaling collaboration here anytime. And so I need to get with her and see what's up. And my only thing left on this is the chop. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for day 42. Is that right? Whew, yeah, 42. Okay, guys, I'll see you then.